everyone, and welcome back to Dueling Dragon Gaming. This is Sonic Saturday, the show where I'm playing every single Sonic game on a week-to-week basis. Today we're discussing the final game on the Genesis, Sonic 3D Blast. Let's get started. This was the first game in this series that, as of the time of this video's release, I could not beat. So I suppose this is the first impression rather than a full review. I was able to go through the first two zones in full, but then decided on my own sanity to put the game down. In lesser words, the game is infuriating. Not in a difficulty sense, the game's objectives are super easy to comprehend and execute. No, this game is infuriating because these controls and general feel of playing the game is insanely hard to get a grip of. I appreciate what they tried to do with the hardware they had, but this just does not work. The movement is so slippery, you'll be sliding all over the level and straight into obstacles at all times. The depth is also a big issue, especially when moving platforms are involved. They tried to fix this using the shadow, but because the movement is so slippery and the jumps are inconsistent, it does little to nothing to make it any less frustrating. There are some positives in all this though. The graphics are incredibly good for the time. For being such primitive technology, I really think they pushed it to its limits. So at the very least, it was pleasant to look at while I was raging. The other standout positive is the same as all of the Sonic games, which is the music. I love the music in all the games I've played so far, but beyond that, the positives end there. I'd be curious to play this game on the Sega Saturn at some point just to see the difference, because the version I played was from the Genesis, and I actually don't know if that makes a huge difference in how the game plays or looks. I can definitely assume there is because of the upgraded hardware, but I would have to play it to be sure. As I mentioned in the intro, I actually think the objectives and overall point of the game was fairly easy to both understand and execute. I do wish there was some variety, and maybe there is when you get farther in the game. But in my playtime, all I did was collect 5 flickies in each room and move on over and over, with the boss at the end. I just wish there was a couple of other things to do in each area or act, or maybe there were only 2 acts, but the second one is the boss and we keep the same flow of things. I just feel like 2 acts of the same thing felt boring in the long run. But if I'm missing something in the later zones, I guess I'll find out eventually when I pick this back up. On the same note of bosses, by the way, they are exactly the same as the main games, except now you have to deal with slippery controls and bad depth perception. Not great. Overall, Sonic 3D Blast is an interesting step in the Sonic journey and worth looking at, but not worth playing. At least the Genesis version. At this moment, I can't speak for the Saturn version. We are now at the end of the Genesis, and although Sonic Saturday is taking October off for a special event, we will be back in November, starting with the Game Gear games. Am I too harsh on 3D Blast? What did you think of it? Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe while you're down there. Thanks for watching.